Hi, I'm Megan Riley. We're here at the 2020 Pasadena Showcase House of Design. Built in the 1930s, this home has been completely renovated by 20 top interior designers. It will officially unveil to the public in early October. Guests will have the opportunity to virtually tour the house, meet the designers, and hear all about this amazing renovation. And we at West Edge are further bringing the house to life with an all-new series called INSESSION. We've invited our favorite tastemakers and experts in a variety of areas, from food and wine to wellness and entertaining. They'll be sharing their tips and tricks on everything to really live a more inspired life. And we hope that this series will inform, entertain, and perhaps encourage you to try something new. So as we like to say here, do try this at home. Today we are in session with Chef Michael DiLauro of Urbn Catering. Michael's catered several of our events. Perhaps you've seen and enjoyed his pizza truck at West Edge Design Fair, where it's always a hit at our opening night party. And today, he's letting us in on some of his secrets and showing us how to make top-notch, delicious pizza right at home. So let's go meet up with Michael in the kitchen.
So I'm Michael DiLauro. I am a chef and owner of a catering company here in Southern California. We're headquartered in San Diego. The name of our restaurants is Urbn. The name of the catering is Urbn Catering. I'm here today to show you how to do pizza at home. It's a lot of fun. You can make mistakes. You can get as crazy as you want, or you can just do it, hey, we're gonna throw it in the oven. We can cook it in a pan that we already have. Maybe it's grandma's old pan. If you wanna get fancy, it's not going to cost you a lot of money. You get a pizza peel. These things you could get for $10. A lot of retailers sell dough. I definitely recommend making it yourself. There's plenty of dough recipes online. The key thing with making dough is it's water, flour, yeast, and salt, but more than that, you need time. So you make the dough, let it sit in the fridge for a day or two, let those flavors develop, let the glutens develop. You're going to have a really good product. You'll be really happy with it. So let's start by making pizza here on the counter. One of the most important things about making pizza is flour. I always tell people flour is your friend. So you want to have a lot of flour. The flour gives you the ability to work the dough. So I start with some flour here in the bowl and some on the counter. I'm going to take my dough ball and I'm going to start with dredging it in the flour here. Now, I also added a little bit of cornmeal to this flour. What that does is it acts as almost like mini ball bearings. It allows you to move the dough around. I think one of the biggest fears people have with pizza is it's sticking, whether it be sticking to the peel or sticking to the pizza stone in the oven. The cornmeal and flour, as long as you use plenty, you shouldn't have a problem. So the way we like to start the dough is we like to press it down with our fingers, and that's the first step. You could slap it down if you want with your hands, that's another way. This process basically strengthens the center of the dough. It allows it to be strong enough so when it's time for you to pick it up, it's not a problem. So now stretching the dough by hand. The key thing with this is use the weight of the dough to do the stretching. You're not going to pull apart the dough. You're just going to let it kind of fall over your hands, and that's kind of how it's going to stretch. It's going to actually do it itself. So there we go. This is stretch. As you see, I just had to pull it maybe 3 or 4 times to get it to the right size. Now we have it on the pizza peel. Another trick to do is this. Make sure the dough is dry enough so that it moves around nicely on the peel. All right, so there's your pizza. So when you're buying sauce for your pizza, the key thing is to get the best crushed tomatoes you can get. So get crushed tomatoes. Don't buy tomato sauce. If you buy whole peeled tomatoes, you're gonna have to crush them yourself. So just get crushed tomatoes. And for the sauce, honestly, just buy the best tomatoes you can buy, and you don't have to worry about cooking the sauce in advance. You don't have to add anything to the sauce. If you want to add a pinch of oregano or a pinch of garlic or a little bit of olive oil, you could. I don't recommend it. It's not necessary. So we like to start with the best quality crushed tomatoes we can get. We use California crushed tomatoes. California has the best produce. It's local for us, so we use California crushed tomatoes. I use a ladle. You can use a spoon. You could use your hands to get the sauce down onto the pizza. I like to personally use a lot of sauce. So I know I'm using quality tomatoes, so I know that it's gonna be good, so I'm gonna use a lot. And you wanna get it nice and even. There's a lot of different ways you could paste the dough with sauce. I like to go as close to the edge as possible. If you like a more dry, puffy crust, you could start the sauce here, and then the crust will puff up for you. So there's our dough and our sauce. I'm gonna make a traditional margarita pizza. You know, you just wanna put some basil on there. Now, the key thing with putting basil on the pizza before it goes in the oven is to put it on after you put on the sauce and before you put on the mozzarella. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the mozzarella on top of the basil so that it doesn't burn. Another trick with mozzarella, I like to use fior di latte when I'm making a margarita pizza. And I like to pull it apart and I like to use just pieces of it, random pieces of it. Nothing, I'm not cutting it in advance. I'm just like pulling it apart and spreading it out all over the dough. I don't cut it into blocks or balls or little pieces. I just pull it apart. It's more artisan, it's more fun, your hands are involved. And then the only other topping I like is olive oil. I love olive oil, a really good quality olive oil. This is extra virgin olive oil. And there's your margarita pizza. That's all it is. It's very simple. Olive oil, mozzarella, sauce, and basil. So we are ready to put this in the oven. We are fortunate enough today to have the Monogram Hearth Oven. This thing is amazing. It's programmed to cook true Neapolitan style pizza. So we've got it set and we're gonna throw it in and it's gonna cook really fast. So the pizza's done. It cooked in about 2 minutes. You can see the bottom is perfectly charred. You wouldn't even know that this was not cooked in a wood-fired oven. That's the beauty of the Monogram Hearth Oven. When you're cutting with this pizza cutter, you gotta be forceful with it. You gotta go just right through. You don't have to be ginger with it. You just go right through and there you go. There's a margarita pizza in the Hearth Oven. So another way you could do pizza at home would be to do it in a pan. Most people maybe don't have a pizza peel or a pizza stone or a Monogram Hearth Oven where they can cook true Neapolitan style pizza. But in a pan, sometimes people call that grandma style. You know, it's the kind maybe you went over grandma's house and she cooked it in a pan. It's actually really good this way. So the way to do a pan pizza is I like to start with a lot of olive oil. It's going to ensure that nothing sticks. I think that's one of the biggest problems for home cooks. So if you use plenty of olive oil, you can ensure that that's not going to happen. So I'm going to grab my dough. For a pan pizza, you basically just want to work the dough into the pan, stretching it out as needed so you could get it into all the corners and fill up the pan. This will definitely take some time. You gotta stretch it for a while, pull it out, and then you want to let it rest, maybe come back to it in 10 minutes and do it again, because when you start stretching the dough, there's still that tension in it. And what you're trying to do is you're relaxing the dough, relaxing the tension, and as you stretch it, it relaxes more and it fills up the space more. So it's going to take a little while. So what we did was we did this one, and we did this one probably 20 minutes ago. And as you can see, it filled up the space. We were able to stretch it into the pan, getting it into all the corners. I personally love the olive oil on the edges. It makes it crispy, it makes it brown. And so once you're done, you've got it in the pan. The next step when you do this style of pizza is, I personally like to put the cheese on first. And the reason being is, when you cook pizza in a pan in the oven, it's going to cook for like 20 minutes. And if you have the cheese on top, the cheese would get brown, it would get dried out, and it just wouldn't be good. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the cheese on first. And some people call this like a New York style way of doing the cheese. So we've got the cheese on first. And I personally like to use sliced cheese. You could go to the deli counter at the supermarket, ask for mozzarella sliced, super easy. The other way you could do it is you could buy the blocks at the supermarket. And if you have a cheese grater, usually they have that one side where you could shred it into slices rather than the thin ribbons. So the dough's stretched out, plenty of olive oil, it's fit into the pan nicely. We've put our mozzarella down, and now we're going to go with the sauce. And for this pizza, the joy of it too is you can go right up to the edge because it's in the pan, and you're not going to have to worry about it spilling into the oven or getting on the peel and sticking. So I'm going to just put plenty of sauce. And you know, you could put a lot of sauce because this is going to sit in the oven for a while, 20 minutes maybe, and it's going to dry out. So the more sauce you get on there, the better it's going to be. So after I got the cheese and the sauce, I like to use grated cheese. We use a lot of grated cheese. We like a combination of Pecorino Romano and Parmesan. The other thing you could do is you could buy a block of cheese and, you know, do the grated cheese right on it like that. But we do so much pizza, we like to get it pre-grated. I'm gonna do half pepperoni on this one, and I always like to put a little bit more olive oil. I love olive oil. It keeps the pizza nice and moist, and if you use a high quality olive oil, it's delicious. So now we're going to put this in a regular wall oven. You can put this in your regular wall oven, or if you have a range. I like to preheat the oven for at least a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. The longer you preheat the oven, the more even the temperature is going to be, the more even the cook. We're using Monogram appliances today. These things are great. These things are optimized for baking. I set at 550. If you have a home oven, sometimes they only go up to 500 degrees. That's fine. 450 will work. I personally like to cook at a high temperature. It's almost like frying in the pan. So our pan pizza's been in the oven for about 20 minutes. We're gonna pull it out now. You can see underneath, it's perfectly brown. So now let's do a pepperoni pizza in a regular wall oven. This would be similar to what you have at home, a regular range. So we're gonna grab our dough. We're gonna go with some sauce. We've got our sheets of mozzarella. I like to put a little bit of parm, and we'll put on our pepperonis. The nice thing about this Monogram wall oven, it's got a great view, great lighting, so you could watch it while you're doing other things. This is one that my catering business, Urbn Catering, we do a lot. We call it the hot honey pizza. We're going to put tomato sauce, mozzarella, pepperoni, and we're going to use some local jalapenos. And when it comes out of the oven, we're actually going to put honey on it. It's pretty unique. People love it. It's a lot of fun. You could do it at home. So all of this is going to be on urbancatering.com. So www.urbncatering.com. And we'll have these experiences where you can do pizza at home, and the whole kit will be ready for you, and we can deliver it, or you can pick it up at one of our restaurants.
To learn more about Chef Michael's Urbn Catering and see where their pizza truck might be popping up in your area, visit urbancatering.com.